Hi everyone, it's me Giovanni, and today I wanted to talk about what I wanted to say in the last video. So I have it in the description, but for this video I wanted to talk about 3 things. And if I'm done with that, I'm just going to talk about some other things. So, number 1 is that the Fnaf books, I've also realized that they have their own separate continuities. They're not even canon to the games. They have their own separate canon, their own separate continuities, and their own separate timelines, which makes sense. Because even when the books try to focus on some of the things that happened, what happened in the games or what hasn't happened in the games, most of the books obviously aren't canon. Because with some of the books like 1:35 a.m. or Bunny Call Into the Pit, or even Tales from the Pizzaplex books, they have their own separate continuity and their own timelines. Which explains a lot, because we never get to see any of these characters in the games. They're just made up characters in the books. And considering that not real name, not at all, specifically says that they're basically Goosebump knockoffs, especially since the series of the books feels like a bunch of fast goo. They're just a bunch of stories that literally, most of them involve nothing about the Fnaf characters. Nothing about the animatronics, nothing about the human characters, no one else in particular. Just some of the other books are just about these random ass characters who die, who live, who are absolutely evil, and obviously there was no way in hell that I was going to mention the books. I just hated them. Especially since I feel like they didn't even make any sense. Especially the twisted ones. But some of the books do have details that explain some of the things that would be in the Fnaf games, like William's abuse of Elizabeth, or the Didophobia story involving a kid named Roy, who experiences the Fnaf in the Fnaf 4 bedroom involving the nightmare animatronics, which is revealed that the Fnaf 4 bedroom that is actually part of the Sister Location bunker is actually an experiment, including fun with plush trap. So yeah. There was another thing where I watched a video about the problem with the Fnaf lore, and it turns out that Fnaf 1 was actually originally supposed to be a standalone game, which also explains a lot, because Fnaf 1 was a simple story about a night guard surviving through 6 a.m. Trying to survive the night until 6 a.m. from possessed animatronics possessed by children, dead children, ghost children. And it's a simple story where it's revealed that someone killed 5 children in one of the back rooms of the pizzeria, and that the killer was charged for the murders, but he quickly got out of them due to lack of evidence. So I explained in my last video about, is William Afton really a narcissist? And I explained my opinions on the whole narcissist or psychopath thing about William Afton. And he became a narcissist right after Evan's death. He loved his children, mostly Elizabeth and Evan. But Michael, he did not love him, because William Afton, when Michael was born, he at first wasn't ready to be a father. He even tried to deny that Michael was his son, due to Michael Afton watching a soap opera, almost like related to his life, called The Immortal and the Restless, involving Vlad, a vampire, denying that the kid with his wife Clara is his. But I would pretty much guess that William became a narcissist right after Evan's death, and probably right after he murdered Charlie as well. And the thing is, we don't get a glimpse or explanation about William's childhood. The closest thing that I would have for his childhood is that he was abused by his father. But if he had a good family, then maybe he was bullied and became sort of psychopathic. But he didn't. He was just born psychopathic by just killing animals, like birds, for example. But at the same time, we still don't know about his childhood. Maybe he was abused, bullied, or even maybe he was abused by his parents or bullied at school for being, what he would accused of being a freak. The closest thing that I would get to William Afton's childhood was a photo of a black and white Fredbear's poster involving Fredbear's singing show, where Impulse Evan describes the timeline at the beginning of Fast Entertainment's career was back when they first started. It was just a guy in a bear costume dancing. Interesting, but it might be pretty known that, considering that it's also the poster is also in black and white, it's either from the 1920s, 30s, or 40s, or 50s or 60s, but mostly 1940s. And considering that William Afton probably was born in the 1940s, it might be apparent that when he was a child, he saw that show, and when he started a business with his friend Henry Emily, he got an idea to start off their business by recreating the show from his childhood. Maybe, I'm not sure. It's also apparent because in most of the fan art involving William Afton's supposed childhood, he's carrying around a plush bunny. I just have a feeling that William Afton is a furry. He just loves bunnies. He loves them. I mean, I love them too, boy. I love them.
We're all a little wild. starting off as just a show with the guy dancing in a bear costume, which...
The wonderful Fredbear's Singing Show. And this is clearly the poster's clearly based on 1940s illustration of cartoons. I can clearly tell. I even looked it up on Google just to make sure, especially since people try to do their research on some of the things said on the poster, and tickets sold inside. $50 general admission. Enjoy perfect entertainment for the family with fresh, unadulterated food and beverage while being serenaded by our local singing bear Freddy. Fredbear or Freddy Bear? Yeah. And considering that Fredbear's Family Diner was opened in the early 70s, 1973, Fredbear's original design was exactly like Freddy. And from the black and white, if you do it in color, it's supposed to be Freddy. You know. Freddy Fazbear, the brown bear, instead of Fredbear, the golden bear, because Fredbear was originally had Freddy's design, and it was later changed to Fredbear, the yellow and purple design. I mean, it's also obvious that due to the guy dancing in the bear costume, it's pretty obvious, especially from the early stages of development with Fredbear's Family Diner, that they used mascot suits. And then during, later on, they used spring-lock animatronic suits.
To click on things.
She's equipped with a built-in helium tech.
Mercury. Don't even know where to begin. There's just so much I hate about it. This game does not resemble Five Nights at Freddy's at all. Half of the lore makes no sense and retroactively ruins almost the entire story and timeline.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Sister Location, Help Wanted, and even the Security Breach DLC kind of ruined the Fnaf timeline and story, because it just kept on changing. But at the same time, Scott Coffin, similar to people like Frank Albaum, who made the Wizard of Oz books, are never consistent with continuity or story. So, yeah, maybe, but you know, even with people's theories about the series, I'm just trying to make a simple, straightforward timeline that would actually make sense. So please, take it with a grain of salt.
And it changes the entire format and style of the franchise.
Yes.
The worst additions that the Silverise had to the story are now canon, but somehow they made parts of it even worse. Not only is William Afton now Purple Guy and co-founder Freddy Fazbear's, he's also now like mad scientist.
He became a mad scientist when after he killed the missing children and discovered Remnant. And in 1986, he built Circus Baby's Pizza World. His daughter Elizabeth got killed by Circus Baby. He did experiments in the bunker involving rooms that trapped the children and probably even killed them. Yeah. Also,
I heard every time you order Little Caesars during the Pizza pregame, you score a fun perk.
oh my god, can I get to it?
Yeah, you can't believe everything you read on the internet.
No, I heard people say it.
Order pizza and Pepsi online on game day for a chance to win Super Bowl 58 tickets.
Pizza.
Look at this.